Hey traders, this is going to be a crypto market update. Not a whole lot to talk about within this video. I did want to separate it because the Q&A within the TikTok and YouTube in the previous global macro update was getting a little bit long, and I ideally don't want videos to be longer than an hour. People don't really watch them. Obviously, if you see a video that's like 2 hours long, it's a little bit less desirable to click on compared to, I think, less than 30 minutes is ideal, but it's pretty hard to get through everything. So I try to stick within an hour. So this is going to be a crypto market update that we're going to be going over. First thing we're going to be looking at is the BTC chart on the daily, and we can see such little amount of volume, such little amount of transactions that are actually taking place, and we see the contraction and volatility increase even more, which is great to see overall. And we can take a look at a different time frame, looking at the 6 hour here, and we can really not do much in terms of the cryptocurrency market right now, especially BTC, because as we get deeper into this contraction, it's going to be harder and harder to find trades for Bitcoin. It just makes more sense to look for altcoins that have enough liquidity that you're actually able to trade depending on the size of the trades you are taking. But overall, BTC, in my opinion, is not the place to look for opportunities right now. We're contracting in volatility. The actual price movement is seeing a decrease, and the significant moves to the upside and downside. There's no trend. There's no real momentum at all. The momentum's actually shrinking. The trend is basically sideways, non-existent, and the lower highs and higher lows are coming closer and closer together, which means that there's less and less room to really get any real trades. So in my opinion, BTC is not the place to be looking for opportunities right now if you're an intraday trader, or even if you're a swing trader. Especially the place to be looking for opportunities is going to be the altcoin market. But we have talked about this very extensively in that we are looking for an opportunity in BTC soon, once we get the volatility to actually expand. In this chart we talk about every single day, we're seeing a lowering of volatility, and we want to see the expansion and volatility for us to look for continuation patterns either to the upside or to the downside. And we see the previous time back in October of 2018, what happened then? We went from 6K to 3.2K pretty quickly, and then the next time we had extremely low volatility, went from 4.2K to 14K. So we're seeing another point where we're going to get some low volatility, and I would like to ideally see this increase some point in the future, hopefully in the near future, and we're looking for continuation patterns in whichever way BTC does break. So right now, with the potential for risk off, I don't mind either way, but I still am looking at BTC potentially to be breaking down more rather than up. I know the altcoin market has been doing really well, but you can't really argue with the global investors. That's going to be more of a tool that I use compared to just looking at the altcoin market. And we do see a little bit of hesitation coming in from the alts. So that's going to be a little bit of discussion on the volatility. We do see that the altcoin market cap, this is the market cap of cryptocurrencies excluding Bitcoin, is really failing to make a significant move to the upside, testing our key structural zone of supply. We're just consolidating, not really seeing any major move. The fact that we broke above it is significant, and we're holding the previous resistance as a nice new level of support. So that's great to see, but overall, we're not getting a huge strong push. We're not seeing that nice strong bullish candle that we would ideally like to see on the daily chart, just some consolidation. So overall, there's nothing absolutely crazy going on in the altcoin market right now. So taking a little bit of a breath, which totally makes sense because we've seen a lot of alts absolutely skyrocket. We were in VET, we were in Cardano, which did really well. Another trader was in Link, who I was not in as a trade, as an investment, different story. But yeah, we did pretty well in a couple pushes here, but we are getting a little bit of a reduction in the aggressiveness and the desire for buyers to jump into alts at this very moment. And we can see that within a couple of the indicators that we are looking at. This is also going to be something that we're going to be looking at pretty extensively. This is going to be the BTC Dominance Chart. So when this chart is moving to the upside, we see Bitcoin take more of the market share. And if it's moving to the downside, it's going to be vice versa. And what do we see right now? We see a little bit of hesitation with this lower low. It's going to be in confluence with this nice descending support zone, previous resistance turn support, and a support again. So that's a valid zone. We can extend that a little bit further just so we're at that level right there. And what do we see within the structure? We see a nice potential Either a meltdown, or if we get a lot of bearishness and BTC drops, I think a lot of alts will drop harder, which would mean that Bitcoin is going to be taking more of the market share, which means that this chart is going to move back to the upside. We do see the overall momentum from start of 2019, I guess, at the end of 2018, is to the upside. So Bitcoin is taking more of the market share in the entire cryptocurrency market. We saw our first continuation pattern, which is well respected, and break to the upside. This was when BTC took even more market share when we broke out of that $4,200 resistance. Strong move to the upside. We're getting a nice contraction in volatility. Yes, we did break below this ascending zone. There's a little bit of bearishness, and we got that nice altcoin rally, which was this move here. But it does look like we could be seeing a potential consolidation even further within the Bitcoin Dominance Chart, which would indicate to me that altcoins are going to be stopping for a little bit, or at least some of them are, and some of them may be going for a little bit longer. We have a tool to understand which coins are relatively strong and which coins are relatively weak to help us indicate what we should be entering and what we should not be entering. But overall, this does look like we are coming to a potential level of support right here where there's going to be some level of demand. So we'll see where it goes. If it continues to go to the downside, we're going to be looking at alts for potential opportunities. We will see that within the structure of the alts that we are looking at, like BNB, like Link. We're looking at Atom, we're looking at Stellar Lumens, all that stuff. But at the end of the day, we're at a pretty key level within the structure, especially because the S&P is had a pretty strong move to the downside, which is a very risk-off move, and alts are even more. So if the overall global investors are looking for safety, if they're worried, if they're a little bit fearful, the altcoin market is not going to be the place to long. You're probably wanting to be looking at shorts, to be completely honest, or at least looking at just BTC until the kind of rain goes away, I guess you could say. But in terms of the short-term price action, not a lot of alts are doing phenomenally well. Actually, let's just look at them right now. Just quickly scanning over them. VeChain is holding, but not really making major headway. We see that previous resistance did turn to a new level of support, which is pretty solid, but we're not seeing that nice solid push that we initially anticipated when we broke above this zone right over here. So that was that structure that we were looking at. It did fail to the downside, but we did end up pushing up. We are holding this as a new level of support, but we're not seeing that strong aggression. Ideally, what you want to see is you want to see the price after this start moving to the upside. The fact that we made a double top here, 1 and then 2, and then moving to the downside is not looking great for VeChain in my personal opinion. And if we break below this current level of support, that's really not going to be a good situation for this particular pair. Same goes for Cardano. We had this structure right there, which should break to the upside, and we got a little bit of movement up, but unfortunately, does look like we're failing to hold our support. We initially held this previous resistance, which is good, which was a nice level of support, which was good to see. We did have that zone here initially, so we did break below a little bit, but we held this previous resistance right there, and we inevitably made it back up. But then the fact that we're not able to hold this zone, and we've failed to make a higher high, holding this as a resistance, definitely giving me a little bit of worry for these alts here. And a lot of people are really heavy in alts right now because everyone's saying it's alt season, which it has been. That is a fact, but things could change. You shouldn't be one-sided forever. You shouldn't marry a certain sentiment or bias or certain pair forever. You got to be dynamic. You got to be fluid. And as of right now, we could, if it does break like 1350, somewhere around there, Cardano could see a move to the upside if it holds. But as of right now, we failed to hold that zone, breaking the market structure. And these alts are looking a little bit weaker from what they were showing even on Sunday, right? So Chainlink is one that's been doing extremely well. We've got that nice squeeze right here, very well respected. That zone right around there made a strong move to the upside, and we see that nice series of higher lows that got held right there as well. Oops, there we go. And then we see the price trying to hold this support zone right around here. And then if we really wanted to, we could draw some descending zones connecting the lower highs, creating a descending triangle formation. So we don't really see a breakout there at all just yet, but we want to see some consolidation and contraction and volatility. So we see a down move. We want to see some contraction, bump up, retesting that previous resistance as a new level of support, ideally with the descending zone like that. And once you see that resistance turn into new support and you see potentially using a stop entry, breaking that previous high to form a higher high, that would be an opportunity for Chainlink, because Chainlink has been an extremely relatively strong cryptocurrency compared to basically almost any single alt in the market. And then when you look at Cosmos, just broke that symmetrical triangle, so definitely going to give you a little bit of indications that the altcoin market is not as strong as it was, let's say, later last week and even this Sunday night when we did our global macro update to look at what's happening for this upcoming week. So it is looking like the alts are taking a little bit of a breath, which is totally fine, totally normal, but we don't really see any huge moves. So we're going to step back, reevaluate, recalibrate our systems, our setups, not our systems, our system is always the same, but our setups currently. So we're just going to remove all the drawings, go back from the daily, and then work our way into the smaller time frames, and then see what we can find from there. But overall, it does look like we're creating some level of a contraction, a breath in the market, in our uptrend, which is what we're looking for. We don't want to see some move from like $2 to $8 without any pullback, any correction. That's just really hard to capture. But if you see these nice moves where you're getting a strong structured series of higher highs and higher lows with these nice corrective moves that give you some opportunities to enter into the trade to continue the trend, that's a healthy market that you're wanting to be in. So I think right now it does look like the altcoin market is just taking a breath. If we see SPX move quite significantly to the downside, and if we see quite an aggressive sell-off where alts are breaking major levels of support, that could be a little bit of a red flag. But in terms of the overall structure, I'm still going to be looking for continuation patterns, but that's just me. So thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it. That was a little bit of a quick crypto market update. I didn't fit into the previous one because I didn't want to make it too long. It's already running over an hour, and I'm trying to make them under an hour, but yeah, this one was a little bit quicker, which I'm happy about. So if you have any questions, drop them in the comment section below. If you are a Performante Premium member and you would like a particular pair to be looked at, definitely don't hesitate to DM me, like I always say, and then have a chat. Let's just have a conversation, see where you're looking at, and dive in from there. So thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it. Until next time, have a good one, and